I have an exam to study for, but my body isn't up, and it said, well, I said, you know what, let's go to sleep at 12 tonight. It said, no, we are going to go to sleep at 1:30 a.m. You know, it took like 90 minutes to fall asleep, and then, of course, in all natural bodily function causes, whatever, I wake up at 5:30 a.m. So I got a total of 4 hours. I could have gone back to sleep, but I couldn't have because I lied there for longer and I did not wake up. Rather, I did not go back to sleep. So I'm up here, and I do not take naps during the daytime. I think they're very bad, so I am here instead. And I will go to sleep tonight, hopefully much more easily. But since I couldn't go to sleep, I am of course very tired. I've already tried to study, and I do not have energy to do anymore. I just want to go and suffer in a different way by programming. So I will do this now. Yeah, I will do this. So this is I'm Hex again. I'm continuing this thing. I talked in the Discord server about how to do this, how to set up this library properly. So I'm basically just going to copy this. So this is this is the official template pattern whatever repository thingy, where people can contribute to the patterns repository. Obviously, just make a pull request. So you have all these files, and I'm just going to add my stuff here once they're done. So here you have, for example, here's Bastion. It opens up here in GitLab, and you can see that for their file structure, they have this in the Bastion folder. I don't know why this doesn't have Bastion. I guess it just does it like that. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Actually, let me have a look how it actually works under the hood. So if I go to, this is not the repository, this is the Git repository. If I make a new thing, I need to go outside of my folder twice, go into user, and go into share, right? And then go into I am Hex, and here we have all the files. So if I go into patterns and list them all, you will see I have all of these, and I have these folders like Bastion, and Bastion contains exactly what you would expect. It is the same things that we had over here, but just with a Git file, right? So what I'm wondering is, how should I get mine over here as well? I could, of course, I could manually edit, I suppose, but I don't know if that is a good idea. I guess there is not really much harm in doing so, but I don't know. I really don't know. I was hoping this would be a bit simpler, but it's not. Jesus Christ, my eye is tweaking. Yeah, I don't know. But I do want to change this structure anyway. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it like it is for now until I'm finished. So right now, it's like, it's like this, where I just have an includes folder, right? And if I cd includes, you can see I have my files there. Also, like these import statements look really goofy, like import NCC chunk like this, but I guess it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yep. So I'm just gonna do that. Thing is, I can't edit the other patterns inside the editor. I need to do it externally, because I just can't have multiple tabs here, so I will do that instead. Right. So let me change this to imports first of all. I don't like using include if I can avoid it. My eye is really not having it right now. Jesus. Okay. Looks like I did not save. Now it is saved. Ah! No, do not reload. I'm making changes. It's lying to me. Lying to my face. Right. I don't know what the Syntax highlighter is actually picking up right now, but It's picking up something. So the XFBin file itself should pretty much be done. I just need to parse everything else. So yeah, so the thing I need to focus on is the NUCC index. I almost wonder, do I even call it NUCC chunk, or should I just import chunk? Because it'll be in a folder anyway called like xfbin or something. So I think actually I'm gonna rename this file to just chunk, and rename this one to just index. So that's I just import index. Yeah. I will need to change these later, but what can you do for now? So later it would be nucc.chunk or even xfbin.chunk, like that. Or there should be nucc because this is an nucc library. And yeah, so that should update. No, it doesn't want to reload. So I added my folder to my list of supported directories, and yet it doesn't show in my patching list here. I still have to browse manually, which is annoying. But okay, that seems to work. So yes, so the main thing is index. I need to add functions to access the data here. I also have my repository here for the original one in 010 editor. First, I suppose I will commit these. Change name, simplify file names, and push. Okay, so what do I need here? Well, within my chunk file, which no longer exists, of course, I need to re-add them. Within my chunk file, it's this. Right now it's just padding, but I need to change it. Also, the index thing is just really not working here. I think I have here, right? Yes, I defined this manually here. Not what I'm really looking for. I just don't know how to handle this. I think I'm just gonna make it like this. Just explicitly make it index, and then no, but it won't work. That's the issue. It just won't work. Alright, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna call it index, and then inside chunk I will remove this, and then within let's remove this then, and then within this, the index, I will add the metadata here manually. So again, from this file I'll just copy these fields and add them here. We have size, map index, version, and this, but these are honestly completely useless, so I might as well just make them all hidden. So I will. Now if I run this, well, I need to make some changes first. I guess I can make changes to the main thing here. Why not? So changes to index, which means I need to import index separately because chunk no longer includes it. and this logger has this. Just do this. So run this. Because an error, of course, has not been declared yet. Right, because it's just index. So I'll just call it index. Or NUCC index. There you go. That looks to work. So now, let me just remove this from my harpoon. Right. So now this no longer needs to include index. There we go. So for this to work, it needs to parse conditionally. So we'll make this thing here. Put my phone on silent. So it needs to figure out what the chunk type is and conditionally parse based on that. And I can actually use a match statement because that is supported by the language. Of course, switch would be the same, but whatever. And yeah, how to do that? Well, let's have a look at the documentation again. So extras, help, IMHacks documentation. Looking specifically for the pattern language. I think it's in expressions or functions or control flow. There we go. Match statements, I believe. So statements aren't even in this language, which is okay, I suppose. Better one than nothing. Better one than both, I mean. So I can just match the string, I assume. I suppose so. So I would match against well, actually here I actually do need to import index because I need to have an access to the functions that it provides. So I'll do match index : something index, but no, because I imported just straight up. Like I don't have to prefix them for some reason, because I'm not using a namespace, am I? So I'll just do, I don't know, get chunk what we got, chunk name. It'll be matching on chunk type, so get chunk type of map index, and that should return it. That's the intention. So do that. For example, if it is NUCC chunk null, then it should do that. So like this, it seems. I don't know why I need to put it in parentheses like this. I guess because it's like matching it as like a tuple or something. A bit bizarre, but we ball, I suppose. I'd have a struct NUCC chunk. Well, it's NUCC null. Right. And null literally contains nothing, so it's actually just an empty struct. Literally contains nothing. So be that NCC null. And yeah. At least I hope that works, as I intend it to. Let's just call it data actually. And then let's say we have NCC chunk binary. Now we should do NUCC binary data. Other one is NUCC chunk page. One NUCC page data. And for now, we'll just do this. So NUCC page. Well, actually, that one's pretty simple to do. Let's put the data here. Contains 2 U32s, that's it. So U32 chunk map offset and a U32 extra map offset. That's it. And for NUCC binary, it actually only uniformly contains a U32 size, and everything else can be anything. So I'll just do padding for now, padding of size. Okay. So get chunk type isn't defined, so that should be the error I get. Exactly. So in index, I need to define it. We'll define a function. For this, I'll actually just look at this for reference. So let's have a look at util. Fn get chunk type. We pass in a U32. I think it works. Yeah, it does work. So U32 map index. Oh yeah, return type as well as something. Well, no, the return type is implicit because fuck you. And yeah. So what this should do is it should access NUCC index. The thing is, NUCC index should be a singleton. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of fucked. I don't really know how to do this. Because it's not... Like, how do I access index if it's defined in the xfbin file? I can't really have it as a utility, can I? Yeah, the functions need to be tied to the struct really, but I don't know how to do that. This is global scope. I guess I have to use local variables. But the thing is, I need to be able to access a function, like to pass it data. So how do I do that? Just ask inside the server real quick. Is it possible to have functions within structs? I need a way to fetch data from a map data structure. Yes, you could pass in the specific index, but it's global, so I shouldn't need to. I think I will look at more examples. This is a map struct. format AI data, you pass data. So you pass it like this. In fact, that's exactly what that does. Again, for a language that is supposedly inspired by C++ and Rust, it is very not C++ and Rusty. It's way more C-like, in that it inherits a lot just the worst features of C. And like, I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but like, it is what it is, and what it is lacking sufficient usefulness, utility. I don't understand. Where's the actual map? Here. So how do you access map members, or does it not matter? Because it's just displaying it. I'm guessing it doesn't matter for this. Okay then, I don't know what to do. Let's have a look in some other random file and hope it has what I'm looking for. BMP, baby. It would seem not. I did this to, yeah, just to fetch metadata. There's no way around it. Okay, here's something I can do. I really don't like it, but I don't see another way to do it right now. I can pass the index into the chunk, and then I can use that to have access to the data. So it'd be of auto index, right? Wrong struct. It'd be here, auto index, right, as a variable. And then here I would match on index dot chunk types. Well, not really, because first I need to access the map. So it'd be dot chunk maps. It's a thing, right? So chunk map index. So map index. Then that contains a chunk type index, a file path index, and a chunk name index. So I'd get the chunk type index. Right. And then we're not done. I need to get index again, index dot chunk types, like this. it'd be useful to simplify this somehow. With a simple index dot get chunk type. That is my wish. But I can have a function instead. Over here, where I simplify it. So again, this would be get chunk type. You'd have to take a ref auto to index. Once it has index, it can return this. So at yi boom, go back here, and then return, paste that like so. And then I'll just do, well, first let me see if this works, because it might work. So the semicolon for 8 in index. Line 4. Index dot hexpat 49. It wants a semicolon to end my function. I assume I'm misreading that. Functions end in semicolons. Okay. Well, you know what? Rather than make structs simpler, let's just make functions more complicated. I think that's a good idea. Let's run this now. Is it because I didn't save it? Nope, it's just still not liking it. Redefinition of identifier get chunk type. Nice. So now we have include issues, because importing in modules don't handle that stuff automatically. Although I should be okay to just, for now, rather than pragma once, remove it from index. I think I'm importing, yep, I am. But I need to import index. Actually, no, I don't. I can import chunk. So I'll save that. And that should honestly just solve it straight up. Runtime error. What's wrong? Is that chunk 23? Wrong file. Line 23, where I am right now. Right. At address 0x100. You want to tell me what's wrong? It's a stack trace. Happen with cursor at address this. Too few parameters passed to function get chunk type. On line 23. It's funny because I didn't use that. Maybe I didn't save here. Okay, now I have a different issue. Error happened with cursor at address. Yeah, let me just expand this. Array expanded past end of the data in padding size. So it actually wrote these two, okay. That's good. These null chunks. But then it got stuck. Which is weird. The size there is 0. What's this? One, 4, 2, 2, 8. A size, I assume. So 1, 4, 2, 2, 8. 1. The mysterious bytes. Then we have 1, 4, 2, 2, 4. And that's the size. Now the size may be too big, so if we scroll to the end of this file, you can see it ends around, well, it should be around here. That's 14224. So I'm not entirely sure how it's reaching the end of the file here. It says on line 28 up here. So look, padding size. Okay, that's why. So you move that, run again, and it works. So here's the binary data. Here's everything else. There's data with the page, and then here's the data of the NUCC binary. Looks to work then. So that's all well and dandy. Now let's replace this with a get chunk type with our map index, just to simplify things. See if that works. I was going to pass the index as the first argument. Seems to work fine. Nothing there. Okay. So that's all well and dandy. Now what? Well, now that this is binary. Now it would be good if it actually displayed the chunk type here. So I'll say, well, I can't say local, can I? But I can say, yeah, standard null string. Is that right? Not quite. Just copy this. Well, this supports index anyway, so it should have it all the same things. Null string chunk type equals get chunk type index and map index. So that should actually allow me to just do here chunk type. Now I'd like to put it into a different struct, but I can't have nested structs inside here for some reason, so we won't do that. Can I do auto? No, I don't want to do auto. What's wrong? Cannot assign value of type string to value of type null string. Okay, so let's do string then. What's wrong? Type string has not been declared yet. Well, it's funny then that you would tell me to use null string, but... And here, they are stored as null strings. So why would this not be correct? I try auto, and pray it just works. Or not. So for local string variables, do I just use a standard string? Is that how it works? Data types. Nothing for strings here. Fuck it. I assume it's a standard string. expected a semicolon at end of statement. Dog, I don't know what you're on about. I don't know what's wrong. It's hard to troubleshoot this. So why does a function return a string? Why doesn't it return a null string? If the value is literally a null string. Can I have like a reference instead? Auto. Maybe a standard string with a capital S. I suppose that would make sense. With consistency. Whoops. Got awesome lighting on my camera right now. Making me look ethereal. Can't say I mind. Standard string. Don't know why it tells me of type string when string is not a valid type. Still doesn't work. The type is being declared further down in the code. Consider for declaring it with using standard string. I don't understand. Import standard.string is because the imports don't carry? No. It just hasn't been declared yet. Using standard string. Man. Using string equals standard string. Or has it literally just not been declared yet? So I can't use it full stop. Because it's not a valid type. I love debugging. Let's have a look in the library. Standard string. We have null string. It's there. There's no basic string type, so I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do here. Just do null string again. Standard string null string. Maybe now it'll work. How naive. Null string has already been declared. I know it has. It's been declared in the other thing. And for some reason it doesn't allow me to use it. This is doing my head in. Cannot assign value of type string to variable of type null string. String is not a type. Is there anything I can do? Ref auto. Nope. Brilliant. Just brilliant. Let's try something else. I'm just gonna close my curtains because it's repeating on my screen. So if I have data, no. Well, what am I thinking? I'm thinking of local variables in general. So let's go variable placement. That's a global variable. Let's just call it U8, U32. Could there be an example with a string? Because that would be fairly useful. Maybe I just have to use a char array. But the thing is, a null string should be exactly that. But let's try. Char array. Would that work? It makes no sense. The error actually makes no sense. I don't know what to do with it. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I'm literally not seeing a way forward here. Attributes. Export. Well, that's good, but there's no example. Alright then, for examples, I'll just look here instead, see what I can find. If I'm lucky. String leb128. Okay. Center string, size string, type uleb, okay. FMT counter, it's a format. I don't know. For some reason, it's returning a string when I don't want it to return a string. I want it to return a reference. That would be ideal. For some reason, I can't seem to do that. Am I missing something really obvious here? Change this back to null string. The function is declared. I'll just post this in the Discord server. Okay, horizontal scrolls not liking me. Control C. Alright. I don't know. I mean, I don't need this, but I like to display it. And I can't display it if I can't see it. If I can't assign to it. Just look for more examples. There's not really much else I can do. There's an auto. You know, it's strange. For some reason, auto gives you a very weird error where it just says there's nothing to begin with. Cannot assign value type string to variable of type nothing. Like, what the fuck? Generally, what do I do with that information? I think it's just bugged. I can't think of any other explanation right now. So fine, I'll just undo everything. Put that back. Remove that entire line. Because it doesn't work. At least this works. despite the limitations. Right. So then we got a UTC binary. Now this depends on more index data, but I'll just pass in the name. So get chunk name index map index. So this would be of type T, taking a, again, it should take a null string, but whatever, it's auto in this case. Auto chunk name, and we'll match. Say match on chunk name. Default case will just be, well, this. And I'm actually gonna leave it like that for now. That means I need to make this function as well, so I need to go down. Just copy this really. Get chunk name, names, chunk name index. Should work in theory. Expected this, got keyword. Right, because my things need to be wrapped in brackets, and braces, parentheses. It works. That's this one. And I'll say if it's NUCC, no. If it's player color param, right? Player color param. The path would also be useful, but I'll get on that later, I guess. If it's player color param, then create a player color param struct called data. Alright. So I have another struct, player color param, which has another size, a version in, I believe, little endian at this point. I can of course confirm this by looking through the file itself. Here's a size, here's another size, and if I switch to little endian, we can see it makes sense as 1000. Okay, that's our size. So this is the version. This is the entry count. That's right, there is no size. I lied. So do this. At this point, it should be little endian. I don't know how to do that. I mean, I can create a new file for now, just do little endian like this. Version, entry count. And first pointer, or the note pointer, whatever. So what I called right now. It's not really what it does though. These 8 bytes will point to when the actual data begins, the entries begin. But then for each entry, let me just test this first. So you got this, each entry is sized 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't exactly remember. I mean, again, I can just check my notes that I already have here. Templates, also bachelor, player color param. You can see you can use a version, a count, a first pointer, and then locals of a side. It contains, that's right, the first thing's a pointer. Pointer, and then a costume index. Costume is a different struct. Where maybe it's global. It's probably an enum, to be fair. In fact, it almost certainly is an enum. Okay. So note pointer. This is the pointer for the data here. So we'll have, well, I've created like yet another struct, right? So struct player color param entry. We've got pointer to a string. I'll sort it out properly later. Then a costume index, which is I think U32. 0 in this case. Then U32R, so red, green, blue. And then it repeats. So do that. Player color param entry, entries for entry count. And then at the end you got a bunch of strings. Each is actually 8 bytes. So we'll say char string char ID, I guess. Character ID 8, and I don't know if I can do this, but we'll see. Entry count. Nope, doesn't like that. I could use a standard library though, so I will. Standard string, looking for a fixed size string, right? Let's just use the full name, I don't really care right now. Standard string, sized string, passing in 8. Right, so we can move this. Might work better now. What's wrong? Invalid type. Expected built-in type or custom name. Got integer 8. Does it not take an integer? The type of the size field. Right. It's weird, but okay. So you're using standard, not even, using size string, U32 I assume is fine, equals standard string, sized string base. Right? So down here, I can now change this to just DTS, and it might compile, it might not. Did not compile. Expected identifier for template type, got value type U32. So I meant to actually just type this, which is size type. Cannot use template type without template parameters. Well, it's funny because it doesn't specify that in the documentation. You know? Just thought I should point that out. Let's have a look at this then. Okay. Great. What is type? Why do I need to pass in type like that? I can't just pass in Okay. Fine. Collapse this. Open the type library. And just give me normal things, please. I just want a U32, that's all I want. I really don't understand why I can't just pass in U32 here. Again, this is what this uses. T. I hate this. I actually hate this. I mean, like, what the fuck? Why do I need to have a type thing? Like, the documentation isn't clear on that either. I mean, it says nothing about it, does it? Well, I just want a simple ASCII string, so let me just do this instead. Size string t equals... I don't know if this will work though, that's the issue. Do like this. Struct string auto, because you can't just specify a thing, size char also make this inline char string of size. So here just use string like this, then say size, I guess length is a better name. Let's see if that works. Yep, my custom strings worked. Thank Christ. And if I look at them, here's the data, character ID. I hate how it's called string, but oh well. Then here are the entries. I thought I used little endian. I didn't. Do that then. Create another struct here, called RGB. I mean, I'd be surprised if it isn't already in the library, standard library. Color, RGB. Right. RGB 8. 8 bits is 1 byte. Mine's different. I need this. Thing is, what's the endian is going to be as well, right? Fuck it, I should do it manually. So we got this shit. Just paste it there. And Bob's your uncle. So RGB color. That's of course in the wrong place. It should be here. Let's run it. And there's a color. Red, green, blue. Cool. So we have support for player color param now. And there you go, just like that, an entire file has been parsed. Now the output is not pretty, but it's a start. I will make it prettier as I go on. So first things first, let's move binary into its own struct. So create a new file. Well, yeah, create a new file called binary.hexpat. I'll save it and hook it so I can come back to it easily. Just delete this struct and paste it there. That should just work. I can pragma, I suppose, hashtag pragma endian big, just to be consistent. Then here I can import binary and see if that works. Right, it needs to have access to player called param and stuff as well, so we'll delete this stuff as well. Save that, create a new file called player color param.hexpat, paste that. We'll just hashtag pragma here, hashtag, well, let me just try this first, see if it works. I don't think it uses anything out of the ordinary. Nope, it's all self-contained. So we'll just include that here. Imports player color param. Right, and then here should work now. And then let's try this here. We're going to pragma endian little. Remove LE from all of these and see that works. It affects everything. Great. Fucking amazing. Well, I don't know what to do about that, because I can specify it manually, but that kind of defeats the whole purpose of having this. But fine, I suppose I have no real choice. So I'll just remove this then. And then boom. Well, the main thing is it works. Right. So I'll work on the formatting at some other point. I'm gonna stop it there for this recording. It's been an hour now. And yeah. So let me just git add this, commit, create nucc binary with player color param. Push that. That's all the files. We're actually going to remove the project here because I don't want it. Yep, git add, git commit, remove hexproj file, and push that. If I go back here, and I think it's this one, right? Now, yep, that seems to work. Sick. Alright, I can now close this. I'll just quit. Didn't save this, looks like. Ooh, I just made a mistake. Get status. Let's remove that file, please. Didn't mean to do that. Okay. Cool. We're done. That's done. Oh, there you go then. Still not quite what I want it to be, especially when it comes to displaying the certain things. Like again, like the function stuff. The function stuff is really annoying, but it's workaroundable. What isn't workaroundable is not being able to have local variables within my struct. That's it for my function. That is a string. I don't know why that doesn't work, but I need to figure something out. But otherwise, I will adjust that when I get to formatting. So, yeah, that's that for now. But hey, it's good progress. Arguably easier than Zozzy still. To like read and stuff, I guess. So yeah, I'll see how this develops when I add more file types and also more game support. So we'll see how that works. Yeah, not much to say there.